In this lesson, I'm going to talk about methods or procedures on objects in VBA for access. If you recall in the previous lesson, I mentioned that objects have three aspects: data, properties, and methods. Methods are the procedures that would run under different circumstances, and you can provide code that would happen. Now, for most objects in Access, the methods are associated with events. They're event procedures. All of the objects in Access have already predefined things that the Access system does if that event happens. So what we're really saying is when you're specifying code for a method or an event procedure, you're adding information that is performed after the standard processing of that event. For instance, let's look at the sample form that I've got here. It has a label, has a list box, and it has a command button. Okay? Now the standard thing that's done with a command button is you click on it and something happens. All right? Now, right now, this button actually would do nothing. There's no information telling the Access application what to do when that happens. How do I know that? Well, let me look at the properties of the button, look at the events, and under click, there's nothing specified. So there's nothing that happens. If you follow the wizard when you're adding a button to Access, you can specify one of the standard things to have happen. And if there's something there, you'll know it. You'll see something in this box. It'll say what's happening. If it's one of the standard processes, which is defined as a macro, it'll say embedded macro in here. We're going to write code to say what to do. So we want to open the code window. We click on this button here to the right with the three dots, select Code Builder, and that opens the VBA Code Editor window you saw in your Introduction to VBA course. Now notice it already sets up our method. It's provided the method header and footer, the first and last statements of it. It's already given it the name of the method. And if there are any parameters, it would put them in the parentheses. The click event here does not have any default system parameters. The key to remember in these procedures is you do not want to change the name of event procedures. In Access, there is a particular naming convention for event procedures, and they are the name of the object, followed by an underscore, and then the name of the event. If you change that name, Access will not be able to find that event procedure. That is a specific name it's looking for. So you never change the name of an event procedure in Access. If it's provided any parameters, you don't change those either, because those are things that the Access application by default provides to that procedure to perform its basic service, the code you don't see. Now you could add items to the parameter list, but it's really not necessary, and here's why. Anything that is on the form can be utilized by any of the event procedures contained within that form. It doesn't have to be an event procedure on the form object. It could be an event procedure on any of the objects on that form. So you're able to look up the value of properties or to look at the data contained in a particular object from any of the procedures. So there's no real need for a parameter to be sent in. You can read it off the form. So in general, it's a good idea not to change anything that is on the header line that you are given. Between the header and the footer is where you put the customized code to do whatever you want to do. and we'll be doing that in later exercises with the course. But this allows you to get to that item and to be able to open the code window and to be able to start putting code in for a particular event procedure associated with a particular object.